Hey friends in beauty, if you're a professional makeup artist or beauty pro who is tired of juggling multiple tools to run your business, I got great news for you. Beauty Pro Funnels is here to simplify your life and take your business to the next level. Unlike other platforms like Wix, Squarespace, or Acuity, Beauty Pro Funnels was created by a makeup artist for makeup artists. This is the world's first all-in-one software that helps you book clients, sell your products, and even launch courses all in one place. No need for separate subscriptions that drain your wallet or tools that don't speak your language as a beauty pro. With Beauty Pro Funnels, you're not just getting another booking tool. You're unlocking the ability to create multiple revenue streams, so whether you're behind the chair or not, you're making money. Imagine accepting bookings, selling your beauty products, and offering courses all without the stress of managing separate systems. That could be a big headache. Let me break it down to you one more time. Your website, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. Your portfolio, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. Your booking site, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. And your e-commerce site, host it in Beauty Pro Funnels. Want to offer beauty courses or digital products? You can sell them inside of Beauty Pro Funnels, and you'll be able to send invoices, digital contracts, newsletters, and do all of your marketing directly from your Beauty Pro Funnels account. It's mind-blowing. Listen, you're going to save hundreds of dollars every single month by replacing over 10 platforms when you make the switch to Beauty Pro Funnels like Wix, Squarespace, Acuity, WordPress, Vagaro, Honeybooks, 17 Hats, Dubsado, MailChimp, Klaviyo, Kajabi, DocuSign, even Shopify. It's crazy. I know you got at least one of those. And here's the best part. Tayana and her team spent over a year building plug-and-play templates into your account for pretty much everything, so you never have to start from scratch at all. So all of your appointment confirmations, reminders, and payment reminders and stuff like that for your clients, they have already been written out for you. You can even gather reviews and referrals all on autopilot. You'll free up so many hours of time each week so you can focus on what you love, your artistry. Plus, with their mobile app, you can manage your entire business from the palm of your hand. Send invoices, schedule appointments, and even take payments on the go. I believe in Beauty Pro Funnels so much that I recently moved the Friends of Beauty site to Beauty Pro Funnels, and I am loving it. It's a game changer because it's not just a platform. I swear it is like having your personal business assistant designed specifically for makeup artists and beauty pros like you. So here's the deal. If you want to see what all the hype is about, visit getbeautyprofunnels.com/friends to get a personalized tour and see how Beauty Pro Funnels can transform your business today. That's getbeautyprofunnels.com/friends because you deserve the best tool for your beauty business.
I have clients now who are from like 20 years ago, who were clients that would buy out the trunk of my car. And then with a hairstylist, it's a personal relationship. You know, they know, a lot of them know me personally. So people are like, how do you get, these celebrity clients, or how do you sell? And it's really the relationship with the stylist. I don't know Rihanna. I've never met her. I can't wait to meet her.
Right.
I've never met her, but she's been wearing our hair for the past 7 years. Just go in. Just go in. Just do this hair thing. Take a risk.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna open a store. And my family were like, you crazy? Like go get another job. Go back to school for something else.
Right.
Because there's they were scared of like me making this move. So when I did open the store, I didn't tell them for several months. And building a team, it's important to have a team, and you can't do it all alone. You will burn yourself out trying to do it all alone. Trust was hard for me. So I was a bit, and still is a bit of a micromanager, but I've gotten better over the years. That's something I've been working on and consistently working on. You have to basically give your employees the space to make mistakes if they happen. You don't want major mistakes, but you can't be hovering over them with every decision and everything they do. So it's important to build a team, the right team, and then trust the team that you build.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get authentic answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. Join me every week as me and my special guest reveal the keys to longevity and success in the beauty industry, from the ups and downs of their journey to the nitty gritty of their struggles and triumphs. We're spilling the tea on it all, and most importantly, having fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty here, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. Now, on today's episode, we had the pleasure of having Karen Mitchell in the Friends in Beauty guest chair. She went from selling bundles out of the trunk of her car to being the go-to for some of our faves like Rihanna, Megan Thee Stallion, Taraji P. Henson, and so many more. Karen is the definition of faith, hustle, and purpose. She is the CEO and founder of True Hair Company, a premium award-winning extensions and wigs brand, and she's joining us today to share how she turned a setback into a beauty empire that not only dominates the industry, but also gives back in the most beautiful way. Welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Friends in Beauty.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, hey, hey. We're so excited to have you. When I was introduced to your brand, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta talk to her. It just looks so beautiful. You have achieved so
Yes.
many things, and I just love to kind of dig into the minds of the beauty pros to see what's going on up in here. See what we can
Let's
get out of you.
dig in. I mean, I've been in the industry for almost 20 years, so I guess I'm an OG.
Yeah, she's an OG. I love it. So before we jump into the chat, we're going to start off with some icebreakers so the Friends of Beauty audience can get to know you a little bit
Okay.
outside of what you do professionally. So, first one, just give us three random facts about you.
I'm Jamaican born.
Okay.
No. Um, uh, over 50.
Okay.
Like I look 40, so that's why I said that. And what else? I'm Brooklyn all day. Grew up in Brooklyn. I now live between Jersey and Atlanta, but I rep Brooklyn all day.
I love it. What part of Jamaica are you from?
Clarendon, it's in the country. So I'm a little
Nice.
country girl.
Nice. My father is from Trelawney.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, yes, Jamaica born. I
Okay.
love Jamaica. Love, love, love Jamaica. And you're right. You don't look a day over 50. I don't know. We just gonna say you 40.
40. I'm really 40.
I love it. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from, what you do professionally?
Um, what I'm good at is, well, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So, I mean, people love the fact that outside of my hair business, I've also, uh, I'm in real estate. I have several investment properties. Um, I owned a bar lounge. I've owned a wine and liquor store. So at my core, I am really an entrepreneur. So people generally love that about me. When people meet me, they just want to have conversation in business, and I'm really good at seeing and developing in someone who has maybe great ideas, but just haven't honed in on it. So I
Mm,
love hearing people's story. And when they say something, I'm like, that could be a great business. And
yeah.
so people love that about me.
Yeah. You got the good insight, the bird's eye view.
Yes, it's something about, I mean, I'll be driving and see a vacant store or something, and I'm just like, this would be great for that. I'm not always right, but I'm just always not afraid to take chances and also motivate people to take chances as well.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. When is the last time that you did something for the first time? Have you had any new experiences lately?
Uh, the last time I did something for the first time was so jumping off of a yacht and I can't swim.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm in the middle of the ocean. So I was wearing a life vest, but it's still scary jumping off
Yeah,
a yacht. I'm so sorry. I thought my ring was off.
no problem.
Um, so it's still super scary to do it. And that was like I'm like, I need to conquer this fear. And some people would never do that because you're literally out in the middle of the ocean. But I felt pretty safe with the life vest, so I did that.
That's good. You're a brave woman because there's still a lot of people, even with a life vest on, they wouldn't do it.
It was exhilarating. It's like, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when you do hard things or scary things and you finally, accomplish it, then it makes you realize you can do more things that
You
are
could do
scary.
more, and I like to conquer my fears.
Yeah.
I do. It's like it's going up against, it's like David and Goliath. So it's like going up against this big giant. It's like I got to conquer this. I got to take this on, and that's also how I am when I approach business. And, there's always fears there.
Hmm.
It's not easy, but it's like I got to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have a current mini win or milestone that's leading up to a bigger goal that you've accomplished so far this year?
This year actually has been challenging.
Yeah.
It's been more challenging than wins. So it's just the wins is really just surviving the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the win, because
Yeah.
business, there's so many layers to business, the ups and the downs. And so when you go up, so we came out of last year um a big challenge. So facing the new year and being able to kind of pass that hump, and just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is, we got through this.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like this.
Yeah. Gotta keep
So
pushing. The
that's
good thing.
it's a win in there,
Yeah.
but that's just a part of the ups and downs of business.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't, I mean, I guess they realize it, but they don't withstand the storm a lot of times.
Oh, oh my gosh. I hear so many stories sometimes, and there's this fantasy a lot of people have about business. Like they just they'll see uh people who are successful, or what's deemed to be successful. And so they just only see the good things. And oftentimes people don't really let you know the bad. And it
Yeah.
could be, there's like some real bads at times. So people don't really let people in on that for whatever reason. So there's this romanticized vision about business, which is not always accurate.
Yeah.
Working for yourself is usually much harder than working for someone else.
Oh, yes, I know. I cry like every other week, but I'm still here.
Yeah, like seriously, I've shed tears in my business, and people are like, "Oh my God, you're so," and it's like great. I love to hear that, but I could also tell you about the down times.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So if you, well, you do so many things, but aside from the other things that you do, because I guess you're a real Jamaican woman. Okay. You got all these
Listen, 20
things.
jobs.
Okay.
I've got 20 jobs.
Like, how you do, I do a lot of things too. Like, how do you do it? But who knows? But if you weren't the
No sleep.
CEO,
That's one, but
no
go ahead.
sleep. I barely eat sometimes, which is not good. I'm trying to do
Oh, I
better.
don't know about that. I do be eating.
I eat. Okay. But if you weren't the CEO and founder of True Hair Company, can you see yourself doing anything else aside from what you already do?
Gosh, I don't know. I'd probably just be a hairstylist or owning a salon, because I'm a licensed cosmetologist, but I've never worked as one. I,
Okay.
I actually worked in fashion. This is how I got into the hair business. I was working in fashion, in production for a private label company, and would travel to India. I traveled to India with my boss to visit the clothing factories there, and came upon this amazing, raw hair extension that wasn't available to me at the time in Brooklyn.
Mm.
There was just
Okay.
packaged hair, mixed hair. It wasn't really raw hair, so that was different. But I don't. I mean, I like. I wanted, while I worked in fashion, I went to beauty school at night and on the weekends to get my license, because I like hair, like everything about. I love hair extensions, hairstyles, short cut, long cut, all the different aspects and beauty of hair. So I
Hmm.
wanted to be a hairstylist. So I went and got my license as a backup to my fashion career.
Okay.
So it was like, if this doesn't work out, I'll own a salon, which I did. While I was working my 9 to 5, I opened a salon in Brooklyn. So that
Wow.
was my goal, was to own a salon, and also work in the salon. So I would probably just be an amazing hairstylist. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully I would have been great at it. I don't really, because I never worked in a salon, even though I have my license. Please don't ask me to do your hair.
I
Just
know that's
just don't.
don't ask me to do your hair. Yeah, I love that so much that you avoided the I'm like, how did she avoid becoming a doctor or a nurse or something? Like, how did that
Listen,
happen?
my mom wanted me to go that route. I like more, I guess, the creative side, and yeah, once I end up in fashion, I like fashion, but I wasn't sure that was going to be my future.
Yeah.
Um, because I kind of end up working in fashion on coming out of college. It was my first job. I started with this company as just doing clerical work. And then they saw something great in me and kept promoting me within the company. So I didn't have a fashion background. So I
Yeah.
ended up working there and having my own accounts and, production coordinator, and then, approving colors under the light box. It became a whole thing, but I learned those skills on the job, and I kept getting promoted within the company.
Yeah.
So, and I was there for 10 years. So
Wow.
I didn't go to like FIT or Parsons. I didn't have a fashion background. I just ended up in a company that saw my work ethic, and was like, we love what she's doing here. So we're going to keep promoting her. So even knowing that, because I didn't have a fashion background, I was still like, let me get my license in beauty because I like that. Yeah, I like that part of the business. I like owning it. I want to work in it as well, but I also want to own a salon, and you have to be licensed. And I still push that. A lot of stylists today are not licensed. It's important to have that. So that's what I would be doing. I would be a
Yeah.
hairstylist and owning a salon, a
I
couple of
used to want to
salons.
be a hairstylist and own a salon. When I graduated from high school, though, I was 17. So everyone was like, you got to go to college and,
Yeah.
you got to have your backup plan. So I did that. And then I graduated in the recession and couldn't find a job. So
Oh,
I ended up back in the beauty industry anyway. So I feel
look at
like,
that. And look
you're,
at that. Full circle.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're
That's
still
where
in the
you
beauty
you were
industry too.
still in the beauty industry. I
Hmm.
love that.
Yeah, so you have to take us back to that moment when you lost your job in fashion. I've been fired from places, and I know the
They
feeling, but
didn't deserve you.
they didn't deserve me at all. But like, what was going through your mind at that point? Even though you were already building these other legs of different businesses.
When I got fired, I actually had started, and we were laid off. It wasn't fired because the company closed down, so we were all laid
Okay.
off. And I was already hustling my hair, uh, because I was selling to friends and family. I was really like grassroots. Like I would make these flyers, and in Brooklyn, wherever I went to hang out or party, I would leave a bunch in the bathroom. And it's like, you know, raw Indian hair. At the time, it was just called virgin hair, like,
Hmm.
virgin hair. And no one, I, I mean, I wore hair extensions, so I didn't know of anyone at all in Brooklyn. So people were just like, "What is this hair? What is this hair?" So I already had like a little buzz about me with this hair in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
Um, and it was amazing, and still is amazing raw hair. So it's different. People were like, "Oh, I could color this. I don't have to get a bundle of three different colors. I could actually do this like I do my natural hair." It's like, yeah, this is raw hair. So it was a buzz. No one else had it, and I was making enough money. Sometimes I would make more money than my paycheck,
Wow.
as on the side. So it's like,
Hmm.
because I was delivering after work and dropping off and weekends and just all the things,
Right.
and sometimes making twice what I made my paycheck was. So when I got laid off, even though it was scary because the security of a job, and we're kind of like told by our parents and just society, like, you have to have it, and it's important to have job security, health
Mhm.
insurance, all those things.
Absolutely.
um so I was scared, but I also knew, like, this side hustle is covering my rent, it's covering my lifestyle, I'm okay, but how long is this going to last? And then I was just like, what am I going to do in 2 3 months? I couldn't get a job that was paying me, because I remember I got promoted within this company, but I didn't have a fashion background, so my whole resume was based on this company. And they
Hmm.
would be like, well, where did you graduate from? It's like, no, I don't have a degree, I just have this experience in this one company. So even though that was good, it was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't being when I was being offered jobs, it was like way less. Like, I think I was making like, which, 20 years ago, that was a lot of money, for a young girl, like 50, $60,000 a
Yeah.
year. So I was getting offered, $30,000 in new positions. So I was like, oh no,
Yeah. No.
what am I gonna do with that? I'm used to this over here now. And then I was like, just go in, just go in, just do this hair thing, take a risk.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna open a store. And my family were like, "Are you crazy? Like, go get
Hmm.
another job, go back to school for something else."
Right.
Because there's, they were scared of like me making this move. Um, so when I did open the store, I didn't tell them for several months.
Really
Yeah, because initially when I mentioned it, it was like, you're crazy.
got resistance.
So I didn't tell them for several months. I just opened the store. Yeah.
Oh my God, can you speak to that about just holding things sometimes? I feel like when we do a lot of things, we just want to like scream it from the mountaintops. And like, how do you feel about that decision now to withhold that information and just do your thing and then pop out and be like, yeah, I'm successful. I
I
got
did
this
it.
story.
Yes. I think sometimes it's best to do that, especially when what you don't want is someone else's opinion to alter a decision you already made. You have to,
Hmm.
and it's okay for people to offer opinions and advice and you hear it out. But sometimes when it's that gut feeling where you feel strongly about something or you've made up your mind and you're confident about your decision, don't then, if you feel confident enough about it, don't go seeking, you know, someone else's advice on it because sometimes that will alter yours. And so I was getting so much like, don't do it. What are you doing? And I'm like, I felt so good at like, I know it's risky, but I think it's gonna work. That I no
Hmm.
longer want to hear that. And I was just like, I just won't tell him. I'll just do it. And in my mind, I'm like, I actually wasn't gonna tell him for a while. I think it was 4 or 6 months later I did tell him, but I was like, maybe I just won't say it for a long time in case it doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
So but it's like I just didn't want to keep hearing don't do it because I wanted to do it. So
Right.
sometimes you have to block all of that out and just and I believe that with a lot of things. When you want to do something or you have a great idea, you don't just go run and start telling everyone.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's much better to just work in silence,
Yeah.
and just let that just plant. You sow that seed, and when it starts to blossom, you're like, hey, look at this beautiful flower I created.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So when did you open up the brick and mortar? What year was that?
2007,
2007. Okay. And
2007 in Brooklyn. That was the first one. Um,
was it
it
self-funded?
It was self-funded, yeah, with some borrowed funds, but I so this and I like telling the story. At the time when I first opened the store, and I've since purchased the building that's the store is in,
Hmm.
but I was also going through bankruptcy because I had ran up my credit cards, just doing all the things, and so it was hard to like no one was giving me a loan.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I had 401k, whatever it was, and I just basically I cash it out. I mean, you're penalized for taking it, so I got
Yeah.
maybe 2/3 of that. Um, I borrowed I think 10,000 from my brother, 5,000 from a friend, and I had like maybe 10, 15,000 saved of my own, and I just put it all in the business. So with the
Wow.
401k, what I borrowed and what I had, I think I opened a store with like 60, 70,000,
Okay.
which wasn't enough to open a store to stock it. So, it was, thank God the hair was in such high demand then because no one else had it. So competition was less,
Hmm.
that it was easy to do the flip. Like, I would just have, you know, my stores now hundreds of thousands of dollars of products in there, but I would just literally have like maybe $10,000 worth of products. But it
Yeah.
was so as soon as I sell, I was like, I got to re up, and then I'll buy more. Maybe the first
Gotcha.
time I only buy, you know, 10 pieces of 18 inch.
Hmm.
And when that sells and now I have enough profit, I'm going to buy 20 pieces next time. And
Yeah.
so I start building on that momentum, and that worked. But it also was because I didn't know what I was doing. Um,
Hmm.
I just I've never owned a business before. I didn't have a mentor. I I was secretive about it because I was scared and didn't want
Yeah.
to be deterred. So I was in this all alone and didn't really have any real business experience.
Yeah.
You
And were
know,
you the one working in the store too?
I was working in the store, salesperson. I was the only one at that time. I didn't have
Uh,
anyone working with me. Um, just doing it all. Just
yeah.
just doing it all. I was able to. So the first store I opened in Brooklyn, I was able to help. What helped was the space was actually a doctor's office prior. So when I took the space over, I kept the private rooms. So
Hmm.
I was doing salon suites before salon suites were being done. So
Okay.
so I had 4 private rooms because it was a doctor's office. I kept it because I had sinks in it and all the things, and I put hair sinks instead. So
Yeah.
what I did was had a salon space also in there that I would rent to people. So that would help with paying the rent.
Like that.
So yeah, so I had 4 stylists who rent from me. Sometimes it would be 3, someone would leave, but I had that additional income coming in to
Hmm.
offset, the expenses of the store. So that also helped.
I'm gonna say you were the originator. I'm gonna say you were the originator of the
Yeah, I
salon
had my
suits.
salon suites in Brooklyn, and in 2007, like that was we had the 4 suites, and that was no one would have these private suites at the time, but it wasn't. I would say it was like it was just like when I took the space, I was like, I'm not gonna break these walls down. These are already rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Just let's just put salon sinks in here, and people could rent and do what they want.
Yeah, for sure. To your knowledge, what was the first touch of like A-list clientele, like who got their product or got your product in their hands or a stylist or something?
Well, the first buzz, and I always go back to Q Hardy and my friend Zandalay. Um, she actually was a client that, and then we became great friends. She worked and Janelle Grimman, Zandalay and Blay and Janelle Grimman worked at Vibe Vixen at the time. This is going
Mm-hmm.
back. And Q Hardy, who's still an amazing hairstylist and still like I love Q. They were doing an article for Vibe Vixen, or it might have been Vibe magazine. It was one of the Vibes, and they were they were doing a makeover of staff or something, and they needed hair.
Mm-hmm.
And Xander was like, if you give us this hair, Q will style it. We'll make sure you get credit. And I was like,
Okay.
okay. And so I had a simple website, nothing really going on, and they kept their word, and Q did an amazing job styling Janelle and whoever else was in this shoot, and they tagged my little company in the little byline there,
Uh-huh.
and all of a sudden I'm getting orders from across the country. Like before, it was just like Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Now people are like calling, the phone's ringing more, and so that was really a big moment for me. So I'm always so thankful to those three, Zandalay, Janelle, and Q Hardy. Shout out
Yeah.
to Q Hardy,
Shout
who's
out to
still
Q
an
Hardy.
amazing hairstylist. Just saw him, like we still work together. Love Q, but he was
Yeah.
definitely my day one.
I love when people keep their word. I talk to a lot of people
Yeah.
sometimes, of course, on the podcast, and they have similar stories of just people who kept their word and did what they said they were going to do in their brand's
Yes,
time.
so
Like,
that was super helpful because I had a buzz in Brooklyn, but across the country, no one really knew of me. So that
yeah.
started like people being familiar with this company and emails and phone calls, and so it started there. And then I know I had to start thinking about marketing because I wasn't like I said, I was new to business in that sense. I wasn't thinking outside the box of like how to get the word out to other
Hmm.
people. So, because I was doing my marketing in Brooklyn, like advertising, I would rap. In Brooklyn they have these dollar vans. Uh, it's just like private company vans that run on the routes of buses.
Hmm.
And but your bus is not coming, you could just hop in a dollar van, and it was a dollar at the time. But I, got to know the drivers, and I would wrap the vans with
Wow.
so you have a picture of my face in the back of the van and models on the side. And so in 2007, 8, I was doing this. It's like,
Hmm.
so that was working great for Brooklyn. So I had the clientele in Brooklyn, but across the country was something different.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think it is about hair that people just love? Because people will say that it's a saturated market, but we have brands like yours and other brands that are so successful because people just love hair.
I mean, hair is it's such an integral part of our lives. However you wear it, it's a part of your for a lot of people their identity.
Mm.
Um, which is why on a different level, when people lose their hair, it affects them mentally and all the things because it's a lot of times it's like it's honed into our identity, how
Yeah.
we face the world. So hair will always be in style.
Mhm.
It's always will be necessary. There are people who, a lot of our clients are people who suffer from alopecia, so that's important for them to have it. So no matter how saturated the market gets, there's always a need for it.
Mhm.
There's always a need for it, whether someone just wants to change their hairstyle or they actually just need it because I suffer from my family. We all start thin, and so I feel like it's genetics. And so my sister have it, I have it, my mom had it, thinning in this area.
Mhm.
So whether or not I was, I get high on my own supply, but whether or not I had a hair coming or not, I would probably at this point in my life you be using wigs or something else because everyone in my family kind of has this hereditary hair thinning issue.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for
there are
sure.
people who just need it, but then there, it's being able to change your hair, your length as someone who has super long hair but doesn't want to cut it, but want to wear a bob.
Yeah.
So it gives you all the different options, in choosing and
Yeah.
celebrating your life the way you want to. So that's always going to be in. That's always
The
going to be necessary.
the versatility. I see the girls going
Yes.
on vacation with the different hair for the outfits.
Yeah, the different hair, the different curly hair, the different right. You could change the color, you could match your outfit. You
Hmm.
know, it's so much, and especially now with social media and influencers and trying to reach people, like it's something, you know, I like you said, I see people who match their outfits, you know, so it's like
Hmm.
it's now that's great for me, you know. Oh yeah, I have a pink wig. Yeah, you want me to, you know, take this blonde and make it green for you? Like, we could do that. So, you know, that's it's great for business to see that, and that's always going to be, you know, saturation. Yes, it's definitely, I think, saturated. For individuals, people like me, it's just knowing who your clients are and really staying on top of your marketing.
Hmm.
How many shampoo, like there's so many different shampoos and conditioners out there, so many companies with product lines, and that's new companies are still coming up every day.
Yep.
It's really how you reach your audience, identifying who your audience is, and honing in on that.
Yeah, for sure. So, what role do you play in the business now? Since you were so hands-on in the beginning, like, what do you do now on a like a day to
I'm
day?
still hands-on behind the scenes, but thankfully now I, you know, I have employees so to open the stores for me, and I have amazing PR. Mark does an amazing job. I have someone who does my social media now. But there are times, you know, where but I'm still there. I'm still visible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I still go into the stores 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
I may not be there all day, but I'm there. And when I'm there, I'm hands on. I'll sell if I'm there and we get busy. I'm selling you your wig. I'm in the fitting room trying it on with you. You know, very hands on. So
Yeah.
still, but more behind the scenes. So it's good to be at a place where I have staff that could do the day to day. You know, if I needed to step away for a week, 2 weeks, even a month, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the company will be fine. I have Nicole, who manages the Brooklyn store, has been with me for 15 years. Sandy, who
Wow.
manages the Manhattan store, has been with me for over 12 years. So it's great to have competent staff
Yeah.
who do an amazing job, and they do an amazing job running the stores. So I'm in a good space. I'm just trying to scale the business. So I'm behind the scenes. I'm doing more things, and because sometimes we get comfortable in the space we're in, and I'm guilty of that. You know, guilty of, you know, feeling the I'm the OG, but you can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's there's competition now. You know, I'm not the only one with amazing hair. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you keep the company's name out there? How do you grow, you know, eh, financially? Like, how do you
Yeah.
scale and make more money? And because so this is, you can't get too comfortable because someone will come and snatch it right from under you.
I'm telling you, how has it been just keeping up with the different trends of marketing and things like that over the years with the social media coming into play and
Yes, social media
influencer
is
marketing
huge.
and all of the things.
And we are actually a little bit behind, you know, because like I said, it got comfortable because we have a pretty good client base. Um, People love the quality. We've been pretty consistent over the years. I mean, for almost 20 years, literally 20 years unofficially, and 18 years officially in
Wow.
business, and still being a viable brand. You know, a lot of stylists, we have great relationships because they trust the quality they get, and it's no different. This The quality is no different from the quality it was as they come into the stores or we ship from the stores. So it's not
Okay.
like there's a different set for celebrities. It's the same hair.
Gotcha.
But when Yusuf wants hair for Rihanna, if he comes in, he pulls the hairs and the wigs that he needs. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same one that everyone else gets. There's no different. So this trust in the product, so it's important to build that. So we have the trust. So now we're just trying to scale, as in we need to make more money.
Yeah.
We need to make more money. so
How
that
how Oh, go ahead.
so that's and now we're, you know, we don't do a lot of influencer marketing. So now we're honing on doing more of that. So there are things that we have realized we have to do more of because, like I said, you know, it will just get it will go past you. You will be left behind.
Yeah.
So you can't get too comfortable. You have to start doing what's necessary and doing the research to know what's working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does the current economic conditions, like with the tariffs and all of that
Woo!
stuff, like affect your business in particular?
It does. Thank God most of our hairs come from India. There is still
Okay.
towers from India, but it's 10%, so it's not as bad. But we've our wig business has grown a lot over the past 3 years. Where before it was like we started with just bundles, and it was great. That was really our main product, the bundles, and it still is. But out of nowhere, the lace products, the wigs, the closures, everything just is it's really grown. I would say 30%. It's a huge part of the business now. So we
Mhm.
send our hairs to China to make the wigs. We ship it from India to China to make the wigs, and so now that's because they're just more skilled in China with the ventilation process.
Okay.
So it's like we'll ship the hair there to make the wig. So now we do have that concern because that affects us. But the bundles, all our bundles are really from India.
Wow.
So
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 I know.
it's not all of our hair, but having the wigs made there. So now we're looking to have the wigs constructed in India. Um, but that's been challenging because,
Mhm.
like I said, China is known for making the ventilation process that is like, so it's new for India in making
Wow.
closures and wigs. So we're testing and getting samples sent and send it back. Like, no, I was just there last year visiting the factory in India just to stay on top of that as well. Like, we need to just have it all made here because it's
Gotcha.
also more so expensive to send hair from there to China than have the wigs made and sent here. So it's like the cost affects the end, the end product, like the value of that. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I know you mentioned going to India with your fashion job. So did you initially meet your vendor on that trip, or like how does
yeah,
that work?
I started. I mean, so long ago. So at the time, it was a small amount from like a small vendor, but that's since changed over the years. Like I'm partners with a factory in India that relationship has changed to on a different and a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I've been there several times. Yeah, for the hair business because you
Okay.
have to, check in on your product and just with everything. Just like my stores in New York, sometimes you just have to pop up and be like, it's not always a phone call or a video call. Sometimes you just have to go there in person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it changes. Have that meeting with the factory and the employees there, just to they see your face, and it's not just like always a WhatsApp video or a WhatsApp phone call.
Yeah, yeah. I know you had very humble beginnings of, just selling your products hand in hand. And I think a lot of people think that you have to go big or go home. Like when you first start a business, is there
No,
anything that you did in the beginning of True Hair that like made a really big impact and stuck for the last 20 years?
I think it's a personal relationships. I was very from the beginning. It was because it was just me. So it's like I have clients now who are from like 20 years ago, who
Yeah.
were clients that would buy out the trunk of my car. Um, so and then with a hairstylist, it's a personal relationship. They know a lot of them know me personally. So people are like, how do you get these celebrity clients, or how do you sell? And it's really the relationship with the stylist.
Yeah.
I don't know Rihanna. I've never met her. I can't wait to meet her.
Right?
I've never met her, but she's been wearing our hair for the past 7 years via Yusuf.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our relationship with him is great. Our relationship with Tim Wallace is great. Our relationship with Q so it's like the personal relationship with these stylists, and their trust of the product. So the in the beginning, it was just the hands-on that I had with the product and the customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew their names, and they know me, and just even me like making these little flyers and personally going into the restaurants that I frequent and say, hey, can I leave these here?
Mm-hmm.
Can I leave this here? So I mean, you'll be stacks of my flyers in every restaurant that I went to. It was in the Golden Crust. It was in the Footprints Cafe bathroom.
Yeah.
It was everywhere because that was my way of like touching the ground. Like, I am here. Like, and then when I got to do the ones that the dollar bands and the stuff like that, but it was more people felt they personally knew me. And so I think that was, and I still keep that try to keep that as much as
Yeah.
we've grown and are still growing. I still try to keep that.
I think a lot of people try to get away from that these days. I think that just the power of relationships is so important, and I try to
It's very
tell my
important.
community to get out there and network and build relationships. And that's literally how I've gotten a lot of the opportunities that I have gotten is literally just knowing someone, building that
Yes.
relationship, and then when something comes up, there it's presented
You
to
know
me.
the saying, your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
So it's like that keeping that network in that community is important.
Yeah.
Um, and we used to do a lot more events. Years we just getting back to that again, and we did a lot of customer appreciation events, and so where I could interact with everyone, and just see their faces and reminders like, hey, and people say, hey, I started, remember when you were in Flatbush and I used to come in. It's like, we'll have these conversations. And so, yes, we're growing, and its growth is important, but it's good to still kind of keep that personal relationship if you can.
Yeah.
So that's important, and it's important to me.
Yes, it's important to me too. That's how Friends in Beauty actually started, is like networking events. And then when the pandemic hit, I couldn't get out and meet people in person anymore. So I started the
Yeah,
podcast.
which is so great, and that was so important.
Yeah, I
That,
gotta
that but
continue.
still building those relationships, and still networking in this space.
Yep.
It's
And then
important.
leveraging it later.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you never,
You,
and you don't know where that will, you're doing this, and you're growing your podcast, everything, but that in other businesses, like having these relationships that you're building and your
mm,
platform, and then you have a meeting a year from now about something, you're like, oh, let me post this and such, because we had that conversation. It's like
exactly.
it's part of your network.
I love it here. I love it here. You have to tell us about True Strength, your initiative for breast cancer warriors, like what
Yes.
inspired it, like all of that.
True Strength was inspired. I started it years ago. Daisy Llewellyn, who's passed from cancer, was a media personality and also was on
Ooh,
a reality
I
show.
remember her.
Yeah, so she used to do these makeovers, and she'd reach out to me to do a makeover for someone. Um, and it's so crazy. At the time, I didn't know she was going through it. So we did a makeover for someone
Mm-hmm.
with breast cancer. Um, yeah, she would do these makeover segments for her social media, and it was, when I did it, I was like, this is something, like, there are women who can't afford wigs or going through this, and I think I would like to make this something I do annually. So that's really where it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've been doing that annually. We just, in the past, since this year, started doing it monthly. Before,
Mm-hmm.
it was like one big in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We would do a makeover from anywhere 5 to 10 women, and it's all out of pocket. I get volunteer hairstylists. I think,
Okay.
shout out to them, because it can't get it done without them. So the
Yeah.
hairstylists will volunteer their time; they're not paid. The makeup artists volunteer their time; they're not paid. And I would provide the wigs or hair extensions. Um, and I would also provide clothing. So I would literally like go to Macy's and just buy things in different sizes, and
Wow.
so the women would change and after the makeover, and then we would take them to dinner. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's just a beautiful day of beauty for us that we do, and it's just amazing. Now we do monthly. We don't do the dinners monthly. We just do the makeover, but we're still gonna do the big in October. Another big 7 to 10 women
Wow.
again, but we're doing single and monthly ones now, just a makeover. And we prefer to do people who are in need. Um, we want to uplift and just make them feel special, and but it's important to do it for people who can't afford it.
Yeah.
We like to uplift everyone who's going through it, but the truth is, if someone could afford it, we would love to have you as a customer. But if someone who can't afford it, those are the ones we really want to make over.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you
Yeah.
come across any transformations that really touched you? Like, have you heard their story or anything?
Oh my gosh, so many. The first one of the first ones we did in 2014, officially, like the first one officially. Um, I remember I forgot her name, and God bless her soul, because she actually has passed. But we made over this beautiful woman, and her kids came, and when her daughter opened the door, she started just crying, just like she was so happy to see her mom transformed.
Yeah.
And when I said this family, the daughters cried and cried and cried, and it was just like, this is why I do it. Like, I'm still tearing up, and this is 2014. It was so beautiful. I mean, and we've had many moments of people crying, but that one always stayed with me, because her daughter's reaction, that like they were crying so hard and hugging her, and I was like, wow, they needed this. They
Mm-hmm.
needed this, so that was important to see.
Right. They all needed it.
Yeah, so that's why I do it. That's
Yeah.
why, and I just found out over the weekend someone we made over last year recently passed,
Yeah.
and so it's so important to, like, knowing that we actually made over twice in 2013, 2023 and 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So it, it's good to know that just for a moment we made an impact in her life,
Yeah.
just for a moment. It's good to know that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah. How difficult or easy was it to set up the non-profit sector of your business?
so it's not officially, so I am not a, what is it, 401, I'm not a
501 something.
501c. Yeah, I'm not officially, so it's just really an unofficial platform that just for us to give back. I've considered now make it an official charity.
Gotcha.
um
It's a lot of
but
grant
it,
opportunities out here for
right, so you
profits.
know what, Mark has said that, so I'm considering doing that, because I just do it because it's like we can, like, it's like, me gifting 5, 6, 7, like it may cost me a couple $1,000, 3, 4, $5,000, but it's once a year. And it's how I feel like it's my give back.
Yeah.
So I don't mind, but we could do it on a bigger scale if we had help. Because we
Mm-hmm.
last year was the first time we actually had, um, no, second time, I'm sorry, that we had donations and clothing and stuff like that last year.
Okay.
Mark came on board and he was able to get some sponsors for the clothing, and we were able to give better gift bags to them. But prior to that, it was just everything completely out of pocket. For me, the dinners are expensive because we also, when we do it, we tell them to invite someone.
Okay.
They get to invite one additional guest to meet them for the dinners. And so it's like private dinners. So it's sometimes a total of like 20 of us. And
Okay.
so at a restaurant, so the dinners are separate things that normally runs anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 just for the dinners and the
Mm-hmm.
makeover. So it does cost, but when I don't think of the cost when I do it because it feels so good to do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so but doing, having an official charity organization that, and where we could get more help, we could do it on a bigger scale. Then we could make over 20 women. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would love
Yeah.
to do that. So I'm thinking about doing that now.
I can't wait to see it grow because it's such a wonderful
Too.
thing. And like you said, regardless of what the outcome is for them, at least in that moment, they got to feel really special and acknowledged and, feel like
Yes.
themselves again and everything.
Yes, 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 yes. So it's, yeah, it's I love doing that. It's an
Hmm.
important part of the business now. We're going to keep doing it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're making a change where it's, even if it's just for a day, to make someone feel beautiful. Yeah, I really love that part of the business.
Yes, get those coins for the nonprofit side.
Yes, 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 definitely. You know what? I'm gonna
I'm
get
like
on that.
obsessed with grants right now. I won a couple of grants, so I'm like always like
Oh,
pressing
that's
people to
amazing.
get grants and stuff.
Yeah. I've mentioned that to other people. I haven't applied myself, but I've also said people, there are grants out there,
Yeah.
especially, when you're new in business, there's so many other grants. I mean, they're for different levels, but also someone new in business, and it doesn't hurt to just apply.
Mm-hmm. I'm
It
gonna
doesn't
send you
hurt
this
to,
lady that I use. Well,
okay.
she's actually in Atlanta too, but
Oh,
she works all
yeah.
over. But I'm gonna send you her
Oh,
page.
great. Please send me her page. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to apply. So
Mm-hmm.
if you apply to 100 for, you may get get approved for two. So keep applying.
Anything helps.
Anything helps.
Mm-hmm.
Anything helps.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and we can't do it all alone. So,
That is so true. So, as a busy CEO and founder, you do so many things. Like, what boundaries or systems have you put in place to help you harmonize your personal life and your professional life?
whew.
And I ain't even say balance because I know it's no such. People tell me
I
there's
would
no
say
such
it's
thing as
hard to, but
balance.
there's no such thing, and I'm
Yes, I
working
say
on that.
harmony.
I'm working on that. I think I need to work on some boundaries. I must say, because of the whole relationship and personal space, sometimes the lines are blurred. Like I have, because I've gotten, and I think that's also why it's like a double-edged sword type of thing. It's great, and sometimes it's not. Because I've gotten out of my bed and opened a store at 11 p.m. for a stylist who, their client, celebrity stylist, and they were having an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Sometimes I've done that, but sometimes I think, though, it's like almost taken for granted, so it's kind of expected. So I do have to set those type of boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, I did it recently, and for someone during Met Gala, and then like I literally, like, we're not open on Sundays, and I'm here trying to get you this, and it's great for us too. But like I don't have to.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I drove in. I'm in Jersey, at the time I drove into New York and to do this, and then I'm calling the person because I said I'm going to come, and now they're not answering. It's like, wait a minute,
Oh no. You gonna
don't
answer
don't
this
let me
phone.
get don't let me get Brooklyn on you right now, because
Right.
you know, So that was like, okay, now you're not appreciating. So it's like I have to set boundaries, and sometimes I say no. I have to say no to some
Hmm.
things. I'm still learning to do that.
Yeah.
I'm good at saying no to some things, but some things it's like because I've let the lines become so blurred, it's hard to now to separate that.
Hmm.
So that's a lesson for sometimes, you have to. And Mark, who came aboard to in the past year to do our PR and help us with marketing, is good at pushing that, like, having a more professional outline,
Yeah.
so those lines aren't as blurred.
Yeah, I struggle with that. Just even personally in business because it's like just my personality. I feel bad because it's like if it's within my scope to do it, I feel like I have to say
Yes.
yes. But sometimes, like you said, people take it for granted and then
Yes.
it turns into like a continuous thing. Like, hold up, it's supposed to be that one time. Like,
It's right. Now you're thinking, and you're not, you should, like, this is a big deal I'm doing right here. You should really appreciate this and
yeah.
not have me try to chase you down now, So it's like, yeah, I'm working on that because I'm good at saying no for other things though. Like,
Hmm.
I do set boundaries for other things, but in business in that sense, sometimes the lines are blurred and I overextend.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So how do you recharge yourself when you're juggling so much?
Whew, trips. I take a lot of trips,
I know
honey.
that's right.
I think I've been out of the country 5 times for the year already.
I know. Hey, put me in your suitcase.
And I'm going again next week. So that's how that's my space. And coming here to my home in Atlanta, which I have a house on a private lake here, and it's so peaceful. So when I want to get away, because I live both in New Jersey and here, but
Yeah.
there's a different peace when I'm here. Like
Hmm.
it's a different piece.
So it's
So
like your travel intentional. Are you like okay every month or every other month, or it's just like when you
it's
feel it?
not intentional, but my friends know. They just gotta say, "Hey, you want to go away next week?" And I'm like, "Yes," because it's more spontaneous. It's hardly ever like planned for months,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always. Luckily, some within my small group of friends, they're business owners as well, and they could be as spontaneous as I am. So it's always like, "Hey, next month, I was thinking of going to Bahamas. You want to go?" Yeah. New Year's Eve, we went to the Bahamas, and New Year's was Tuesday. Um, Sunday, my friend called me. She goes, are you going to?" I'm like, "No, I'm just going to be in New York this year." She
Mm-hmm.
goes, "I was thinking about going to Bahamas." I said, "Okay, let's go." And so we flew out the next day.
I love that.
Let's go.
I aspire.
Because I know like these trips they recharge me. And so when there's an opportunity, I'm there.
Yeah.
When I'm there, there are ones that are planned, but I'm pretty much, my friends know. Hey, I have a friend who said they're going to be doing like a whole European thing for about a month and a half. They're just going to do Airbnb in Milan and then do Airbnb there, and but they're going for like a month. I'm like, I can't do a month. I said, but send me the itinerary because I'm going to come on one leg of it. I'm going to come somewhere.
I know
So
that's right. I love when the things make it
but
out the group
traveling
chat.
is my recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I'm here, it's like I'm always behind the scenes. I'm not in the stores, but I'm behind the scenes. I'm looking at the emails that my employees send. I'm looking at the
Mm-hmm.
social media. I'm correcting things. I'm still the manager behind the scenes, although we have managers. I
Yeah.
manage them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's a lot of work. So when I travel, I'm doing that from the beach, with a coconut. It's a different vibe. It's a different feel.
I like that. Do you have any advice that you could offer on, I guess, the initial steps that it took for you to remove yourself from the everyday task of like being in the store to now, like you say, you just, check in on them and you read the
Yeah.
emails and like, what did you have to put in
Well,
place to do that?
building a team. It's
Mm,
important to have a team, and you can't do it all alone. You will burn yourself out trying to do it all alone. Trust was hard for me. So I was a bit, and still is a bit of a micromanager, but I've gotten better over the years. That's something I've been working on and consistently working on.
mm-hmm,
Um, you have to basically give your employees the space to make mistakes if it happens. You don't want major mistakes, but you can't be hovering over them with every decision and everything they do. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to build a team, the right team, and then trust the team that you build.
Yeah.
Like that's important. So that's a letting go is hard for me. You know, I used to show up at the store, and I still do because sometimes I'll show up. No one really. The truth is, no one will really run your business the way you do.
Yeah.
So that's a hard thing to let go because I still show up, and my employees have been, especially the manager's been with me for years, but I still see things that they just don't see. They don't have the same eye I have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's I still point out things. So it's still important to show up, but you also have to trust them because they can't grow if they're not trusted. You don't they don't you don't they don't feel like you have confidence in what they're doing. They
Yeah.
won't grow, so you're not helping yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first thing is actually to get build a team because someone has to do the work, but it's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Vet people, um, get experienced people, pay people well, and and the work will and trust them to do what you hire them to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you
And
have to like train them too? Like,
yeah, I trained the managers for sure. I trained everyone, and then even when we get new employees now, and we've downsized after COVID. We've downsized a lot, but the training starts with the managers. But then I go over it and make
mm-hmm.
sure when we have a manual, we have all the things in place. Um, but we still somewhat operate mom and popish at times. So I'm trying to change all that, you
Yeah.
know. So the systems and the processes in place as it's important. So those are
Yeah.
things that I had to gradually learn to implement and let go of the control and still working on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all there. I'm still working on it, you
Yeah.
know, but that's my advice.
Okay. Do you think it's still room for other people to start a hair extensions line?
Of course, but it's definitely harder now. I think personally, like if I don't think my growth would be the same now, um, if I was to start now compared
Mm-hmm.
to what when I started then. Uh, but yeah, there's space for it. There's
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
There's definitely space for it. If you come, I mean, new companies are coming up every day. And over the years, so many new companies started that I've seen that I look at and I admire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like wow, they're doing it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not blind to who the competitors are. I see them and it's like okay, they're doing it, and I
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye on them. I'm not afraid to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
This is business. So, but there's room for others. But you have to put it's going to take a lot of work. The the business is saturated because a lot of stylists also sells hair extensions. So it's not just someone like me with a brick and mortar and or online. The
Yeah.
stylists themselves are supplying hair to their clients.
Mm.
So that has changed the market and changed the game. So you have to have quality when you step in this game. Consistency. You have to have a great marketing plan. So it's different.
Yeah.
It's different, and it takes money.
Mm-hmm. Would
So
would would you what would you say is the most important thing that they should focus on first?
uh, knowing who their target audience is, because there are different types of hair. There's the lower quality, and then there's a market for everyone. You know, so not everyone could afford a $1,200 wig.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a market. So knowing who your audience is and honing in on that audience and marketing to that audience.
Yeah. That's great.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like having the product and know who your audience is.
Yeah. So, have you thought about what you want your legacy to be with True
Oh,
Hair and the amazing things you are doing?
my legacy. I haven't put much thought. I mean, I have in a sense. It's like I have this company. It's almost 20 years in. I'm still standing and still growing,
Mm-hmm.
um, and still scaling. Uh, it's really because it's not just about hair. It is hair, but it's also about a feeling. It's about a feeling. It's how women feel um, when they look their best.
Yeah.
So it's a is creating that community of support. So I would like just the legacy to be, I mean, I would love for this company to live on beyond me.
Mm-hmm.
But the legacy I leave behind is I, I was a part of that feeling. My company was important to these women, to
Mm-hmm.
their lives. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's simple. It's very simple. I'll think about that more, but it's very simple. It's like I'm a part of this. Like, and sometimes I forget, like I've been in this game for such a long time, and when I speak to people who say, you know, I've been buying your hair since 2007 or 2010, and oh my God, and I still, you know, I cheated and went somewhere else, but I'm back, you know.
You came back though.
We get a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
Come back home. So, you know, but it's like there's always a story to be told, and we're
Mm-hmm.
part of that story, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything that's coming up next for you or True Hair that you can share?
We're thinking to expand brick and mortar to Atlanta.
Yay.
So I've been scouting locations here.
You know they love the hair down there.
Yeah, it's a different market though. So we were supposed to do it 2 years ago and put it on the back burner. So it's now back up there.
Okay.
Um, so that's the next one.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing it. Yay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a part of the growth plan.
yeah, before I let you go, I have to ask you the Friends of Beauty rapid fire question. I promise
Uh-oh.
they're not scary, I promise.
Okay.
So whatever comes to your mind first, you can spit it out, or if you need to elaborate, that's
Ooh,
fine, you
let's
know.
go. Let's go.
So the first one is, what are the top three keys to your success so far?
Uh, Trust in myself, uh, having an amazing product, and an amazing staff.
Alrighty. How do you measure your success?
Ah, I measure my success. Um, Gosh, it's part financial, but it's not all financial.
Mm-hmm.
Because even it's important for my customers to be happy. Like when we get like a complaint, it's a business, so it's not like we're without complaints.
Mm-hmm.
20 years we've had complaints here and there. It literally like, you know, my staff will, I see all the emails going back and forth. I'll just be like, I take it personal because like it's very important for the customers to be happy. So when
Yeah.
someone's not happy, it almost like hurts. Like, oh, how we got to fix this? Like, I don't like this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the success, I measure success, that success in business and having less complaints. Like that's important to, like seriously, that the happiness of the clients, the customers is so important to the business. Like, yeah, we make money from this, and this is the business, but
Mhm.
it we want the product to make you happy. So if you're
Absolutely.
not happy, I don't feel successful. If I had a zillion complaints, I wouldn't feel successful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like it. I like it. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that just always sticks with you?
I can't think of, I get advice from people. So it's, I don't really, I can't think of, honestly, I can't think of it because you know, I've never had a mentor. And I've said this also before somewhere else. I've never had a
Really?
mentor. So I've really been leaning on my own understanding for so long. And I've made a lot of mistakes. And I've
Uh-huh.
reached out for advice. Like my friend Mecca gives me good advice because she comes from a marketing perspective and has a lot of experience in that. So she gives me advice there. My attorney, it's important to have my attorney. I have an attorney, and so anything that I'm approaching in business, I'll go to him even
Mm-hmm.
if he's not a part of it. I'm like, Ben, what do you think of this? So I do seek advice in those senses on a business, but I can't really think of anything that really, I hone in on my own understanding so much.
I love that. Okay, she well, obviously it's working.
No, I made some mistakes, but for the most part, I trust my judgment.
Yeah.
I trust my judgment.
And a lot of people could probably take something from that too and trusting their judgment more
Yeah,
because a lot of people, instead of trusting their judgment, they do seek out too much
yeah,
outside advice a lot of times.
I trust my judgment.
Yeah,
So,
I like that. What advice would you give to another hair extensions brand owner right now who's just not having the best time in business and they're just like, I'm ready to just throw this away. I don't know if this is gonna work.
um, never throw something away unless you feel you've given it your all. It's easy to feel to want to give up, especially when you're not, when the money is not coming the way it's supposed to. It's easy to say,
Hmm.
I don't want to do this. but I always feel like you have to make sure you give it your all, and you know when you've given it your all. Uh,
You're right.
a lot of times people are trying to do it by themselves, including myself. I've done that. Not hiring the right team. In this day and age, marketing is so important. Social media marketing is so important,
Mm-hmm.
especially in beauty. It's almost like it's hard to scale without that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you reach people? How do you reach new customers?
Yeah.
Because you can't survive on just the ones you have. Like, how do you reach new customers and how do you retain the old ones?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always social media marketing is very important. We're pushing that. I've met people who said, "Well, I don't do a lot." Well, you have to.
Yeah, you
You
can't
have
get
to.
away from it.
You have to. You just can't get away from it. So
Mm.
I implore people to use those platforms, and so many of them are free in a sense. You don't, not everything has to be paid. So, but
Right.
use it. Um, but there are different ways to reach customers. But you have to speak to your audience, and so whether it's your YouTube, your Instagram, your TikTok. We're just we're behind. We're late on TikTok. We
Me
just started
too.
working. We just started working our TikTok recently. We're late on it. So some of these
Absolutely.
things I'm learning myself. But marketing is very important. But so sometimes it's pivoting, is figuring out maybe bundles is not it. Maybe wigs is it.
Mm,
Maybe so finding something within the same space, but something that's working. Speaking to your customers, asking questions.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Do a survey of your current customers. What do they like? Why are they buying it? What do they when you find out how often they change their hair, all those things. But speaking to the ones you have, and so you can figure out how to reach others.
Right. Right. Great advice.
Thank you.
What's a resource that helps you in your business that you could share with the friends and beauty community?
Uh like we don't other honestly it goes back we're just honing in on social media. We don't have like a particular system or in-house system that works for us, our process that we work, but there's not I can't like speak on a like a certain platform that we use outside of social media. It's right now it's me and my team, and it's a small team. We've downsized over the past 3 years, um, but it's a targeted small team. So we
Mm.
have the PR, we have our social media person, because I was doing it and I was doing a horrible job at my social media management. So
Yeah.
we have someone in house who's doing that, and the staff, and so it's a team. It's just really using the team to grow, and it doesn't have to be a huge team, because you
Right.
could waste a lot of money on the wrong people, the wrong staff.
Mm-hmm.
That and I've done that. So it's like figuring out who your core team members are and what their jobs are, and working with them.
Got you.
So that's our system.
I'm taking it all in. I'm
Yeah.
building my team. So I'm taking it all in. So the last one is just a statement that I want you to repeat and say, my name
Okay.
is blank Karen, and the key to
Mm-hmm.
longevity and success is blank, like whatever you think it is.
Okay. Okay. My name is Karen Mitchell from True Hair Company, and the key to longevity and success is having a great product or service. Whether it's a product or service, you must be the best at what you do or what you have, your product or your service, and having the right team. I don't think a business can grow. You could have a business by yourself, but for it to grow to be a business by yourself is, I don't personally consider that a real like a business, unless it's media or something like that. But a product or service, you need a team. You need a
Mm-hmm.
team. So building the right team, those are the keys to longevity and success.
Yeah,
Um, a great product, the right team, and marketing.
I love it.
That's it.
I
Those three
love it.
things will get you. And an attorney,
And an attorney,
a good
because
attorney,
people.
and a good accountant. Oh, the accountant is important.
So that's the team.
Oh,
You gotta get all
that's
those
that's the
people.
team. Yes, you have to get an accountant is super important. Knowing what's coming in, what's going out, and how to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can make really great. like your finances could be amazing. The profits are like this, but if you don't know how to manage your money, you won't even, it will be gone in no time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having that part, those are part of my team. Those are people outside of the in-store employees. My attorney and my accountant are super important.
Absolutely. Because people would try it. Got
Oh,
to keep the attorney on deck.
he's on deck, and they do try it. So he's on deck, and my accountant's like, hey, you got to pay your taxes, all the things you have to
Mm,
understand. You have to speak to your accountant and find out, like, what does this mean? What tax bracket am I in? What do I need to
mm,
do here? Because if
mm.
you don't understand those things, you could, and you have to have the right accountant, because you have accountants who don't really care, and then all of a sudden the IRS is saying you owe this, and you're like, why? But I did my taxes, because you didn't
Right.
ask all the questions, and your accountant didn't care about you.
Oh,
So
man.
building the right team is important.
Dang, wow. This has been an amazing conversation, Karen. Before you go, I have to ask you to share any social media, website, whatever you want people to do to connect with you, the brand, and follow the journey.
Sure. My personal is NY Hair Queen, like NY New York, NY Hair Queen, and the business is True Indian Hair, because that's a product line that everybody knows. So website is True Indian Hair, True Indian Hair, or True Hair Company. They all go to True, the website, and Instagram, Facebook is True Indian Hair.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yay, I'm so
My
glad you
my
enjoyed it.
Jamaican peeps. This is awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with another friend in beauty. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review so that other friends in beauty can find the show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.